What would it take for you to take some bullion and trade it for something else of value? Now, as with anything, when you think of silver and gold, again, a lot of the community thinks of silver and gold as money. Gold and silver aren't money. They haven't been money for a long time. Money, currency is money, whether we like it or not. Gold, silver, they're assets. But would you trade an asset like gold and silver for something else? Not necessarily an asset, something else that has value. Now, obviously, in front of you, you can see one of my Rolex watches. Something that has value, something that has perceived value. In the end of the day, what is it? It's a watch. It's a watch. It could be a Timex for all intent and purposes. But the reality is, we as a society assign value to that. We assign, an intrinsic value of the quality of the manufacturing, all these different things that go into something like that. But the reality is, again, at the end of the day, it's a watch, right? Regardless of how precise it may be and this and that, it's a watch. It's a watch. We assign it value because of perception. There's nothing really intrinsically valuable about it other than, again, the quality and craftsmanship that apparently goes into these kind of things. But that being said, would you trade, straight up trade, not, sell and buy something else, literally trade bullion for, another type of good, something that you want, something that you need? Now, I don't see it too often with stackers, although they always talk about, how easy it would be to do, and, they'd be able to trade for this or that if the SHTF came up. But you don't actually really see them put it into practice. You see them more just talk about, theoretically how it would work out. Now, one person that I did see actually do it was Silver Stacks Prepper. Probably a few years back at the beginning of the pandemic, he traded, gold bullion, I think, for a trailer. And then, his plan was to kind of go live a little bit more off the grid than where he was. But something like that, again, it's actually putting, what you say you're going to do into practice. And not only that, but there's just something to that, to trading straight bullion for something else of value. Again, with a watch, with jewelry, with, anything else that's more perception value than actual intrinsic value. To me, it's kind of tough. For example, like me, if I was going to trade bullion straight for something else, I would want like maybe land or something like that, or something where it's not just a straight trade for like currency based value. I'm trading something I actually believe in for bullion, or trading for something I actually believe in for bullion. Bullion, again, to me, at the end of the day, it's a means to an end. It's not an end all to be all. I think the thing with gold and silver in particular is that, people look at it as if it's kind of the end game. Like, you need to be all in gold and silver. No. Not only, again, from a investment or gain standpoint, you really just don't stand to gain that much from, holding bullion. There's just so much to it that it's over time, it's kind of a losing game. Now, again, that's not talking just about the value. You got to hold it, you got to store it somewhere, you got to keep track of it, you got to remember what you paid for it, you got to, have an exit strategy of some kind to get rid of it. It's a lot, you know what I mean? It's very different than other things. And with gold and silver, the hard part is, like many things in life, again, a lot of those things are not controlled by you. They're not controlled by me. They're completely out of your control. Again, as ridiculous as it may sound, gold and silver could be $5 silver could be $5 an ounce tomorrow. And, obviously the community would go crazy and say, this is crazy, but we don't control that, right? Just like the stock market could crash 50% tomorrow. We don't control that. These are the things, with currency that has its own risks, obviously, it devalues over time by design, I will add. But, there's just so many things baked into the cake. That being said, would you ever trade, some of your bullion for a hard-earned, quote-unquote, asset?